Welcome to this episode of One More Round. Blows my mind. We're on series 2 and we're going all the way to California, which is exciting. We have Paula Lalanne, who is Five Ways to Fabulous director. Paula, I've been trying to rehearse your surname for the last 10 seconds, and we've been having some fun, haven't we?
We always have fun. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So Paula Lalanne. It's almost like this is your life. This is a big welcome into the world of you and everything with lashes. You know, we've seen on your Instagram, on your social media. Obviously, you're in the beauty industry, and are really passionate about that. Educating women, you know, building them up, not just in the way they look, but also, you know, in their confidence and their self-worth. And so I was excited by the opportunity to have you on this series of One More Round. And so, Paula, I think it would be really good if we could start by finding out who are you?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity. I really appreciate it. And, you know, I'm aware of that question because I'm a fan of the show. And I was really thinking about that last night, kind of thinking about how I really wanted to answer that. So I thought I would just kind of jump right in. And I am, you know, my slogan for my business is shamelessly female. And I'm a woman, of course, you know, I'm a mother, and I have 3 beautiful daughters, and I have a business and all of those things. But I really love being a woman. I love being a girl. I love all the girly things that means. And so I really feel like taking that and, you know, putting some power behind it and really owning what that means. And I feel like that's what my brand represents. It represents that side of a woman where we just want to be all out girly, have fun, but at the same time, we can be whatever we want to be for, you know, and be smart about it, which is also the way that my brand is kind of designed to empower women and educate them about how to do these things. Not just like, okay, let's go and get all dolled up. It's like, okay, this is exactly how we're doing, you know, this eyelash, and this is what's in this product, and this is why it's good or bad for your skin or whatever, you know, things like that.
Awesome. So it's been something that seems to have been a part of your journey for a long time. Since you're a big fan of the show, a part of me is thinking I really need to mix up these questions now, because you're gonna prep yourself, and you know, I want to keep you on your toes. Funny. I think, you know, for me, just connecting the human side of business, which has always been one of my key trademarks in terms of my own business, of how to go about things, is to build that rapport, build that camaraderie, that human side that, you know, obviously none of us are daft. We all know that people want to do business. We want people to spend money on us. And so sometimes it's hard to be able to see beyond that. Are they selling me something just because they want to make a quick buck? Or are they selling me something that actually does benefit me? You know, so that's why I always spend a little bit of time on more of the kind of like the personal side of someone, to really be able to connect, so people can see the genuineness or all the bullshit, depending on which, you know, where you want to see it from, what you glean from someone. If there was one word that you wanted the world to associate with you, Paula, what would that be?
Wow, that's a wonderful question. I think it would be authentic. You know, I really feel like it's really important to be genuine and authentic. And that's when I, about maybe a year or so before I launched my brand, I remember I was flipping through the channels on TV, and I came across somebody talking. I don't remember what show it was or anything like that, but he said, give people something of value for free, expect nothing in return, and the world will pay you back. And that really resonated with me. And I feel like that's what I've tried to do on a daily basis through my Instagram or my Facebook or whatever. I just feel like I'm not really looking for the payback. I'm just looking to give. I really, really, really love to give information, time, you know, whatever that may be. So, and I try to do that in a genuine way. Like if someone asks me a question, I'm going to give you an honest answer. It's not maybe always what somebody wants to hear, or it might not always sound glamorous, but I really try to come across as authentic.
Love that. One of the most interesting questions I kind of came across was, what do you spend your money on? And it's not to pry or to kind of find out like your financial details, but I always believe that what we spend our money on says a lot about who we are and our mindset. So if we were to look at like your bank account, look at what you spend it on, what do you like to spend your money on, Paula?
Okay, well, besides shoes, fun. I love to have fun. I like to go and do things with my daughters, take them to, out to dinner, out to lunch, to a concert, to an amusement park. I feel like I would rather spend my money on experiences rather than things. And, not exactly having the biggest budget at the moment. That's where I choose to spend most of my money.
Nice. So I like that because I
Mhm.
think most people would probably say like coffee or shoes or bags or eyelashes. Little plug for you there. It's
Well, I don't have to buy the. Thank God I'm not spending money on eyelashes.
yeah, you just sell them. Everybody else can buy them. But yeah, I think that's beautiful. Experiences are something that are priceless. And
Mhm.
in the industry that you're in the beauty industry. Who's like the one kind of role model within that sector that you really value, and who you think who's getting it right, who you would even want your daughters to like aspire to be like?
To be honest with you, there isn't anyone in the beauty industry, but I'm a huge fan of Oprah. I just love that she really had a passion for something, followed her dream, and really was empowering people with information on every level. And I try to do that also. Like sometimes I'm a huge, huge advocate of beauty from the inside out. So I was a little bit of background on me as I don't have a cosmetology background. I have a pre-med kind of health, physical education background from college. And I really, really believe that beauty starts from the inside out, and how we eat and working out and all of those things. I think it's really important. I feel like when I would watch the Oprah show, I remember when I was like in high school, she'd have like some guru on talking about diet or exercise, or, feeling confident about yourself. So that's kind of more somebody I idolize. And then from a business perspective, I would have to say Anastasia. She's an eyebrow person, and she started off doing eyebrows for celebrities, and she was just really good at analyzing a face and looking at the symmetry and the balance
Is she the
of,
singer?
pardon me?
Is she the singer?
No, no, no. Anastasia. How do you not know who Anastasia is, Mark? You're going to walk into a Sephora and her name is going to be like plastered everywhere.
I know
And
Anastasia, and she was a musical artist, and I actually met her. But yeah, okay.
okay, yeah. So she has like taken the eyebrow world by storm. She has, she obviously, there are so many different, we're such a melting pot, right? I mean, there are women with every hair color. I mean, there's probably a range of 20 different hair colors, and she's got 20 different eyebrow colors to match your hair. And so my business is similar to that, where I have like the different shapes of lashes for the different eyes. And I approached it more from an analytical standpoint, because I'm a wonderful overthinker about everything.
Mhm.
So I kind of apply that to my business, and I really overthought everything. And so Anastasia, to answer your question.
Interesting. You said that there wasn't anybody within the beauty industry that you, I guess, saw as a role model. So maybe that's a place for you to stand up. The next sort of thought that I had was, what makes you happy?
I mean, obviously my daughters make me happy. Oh, that's a really good, what makes me happy? I kind of think it's something that comes from the inside. I don't think that it's an outside. I don't think happiness comes from the outside. I think it's created from within, and it's a choice that we make. And I don't, so I think that we make ourselves happy, you know? I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's,
interesting. I think it's good to reflect on what makes you happy. It
mhm.
could be something trivial and simple as freshly cut grass, or it could be something more emotionally charged, like you said, spending time with your daughters, or whatever that looks like. Um, you know,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
sale, anything like that.
Okay. I would say then definitely there's sorry, there's a little noise out there. My dogs make me happy. My kids make me happy. Having a glass of wine with girlfriends makes me happy. Receiving a really sweet text message or something like that makes me happy. You know, just pretty simple things.
Yeah, I think that's important, you know,
And
just
shoes and lashes.
and shoes and lashes and experiences. Cool, we got it.
What is success? It's one of those questions that we've asked each other for a long, long time. And for many people, it's different. I went out onto the streets and I actually asked people, what does success mean to you? And you heard all sorts of answers, from the more kind of common, you know, nice house, nice car, financial freedom, you know, to more specific things like owning a racehorse or being a Wimbledon tennis champion. But for me, my definition of success is being at peace with myself. Nobody can really define for me whether I've been successful. Only I can do that. Make sure that you understand what your definition of success is so that you're able to measure it. But for me, it's something internal, not external. It's a journey and not a destination.
The show's called One More Round,
Uh-huh.
and I guess I always like to get people's spin on it, but hopefully, I guess the marketer in me is like, hopefully people can already ascertain what it means. But for you, when you hear One More Round, what does it convey?
Well, first of all, I think it's a brilliant name. I love the name One More Round because it reminds us that we all have that one more shot in us, you know, that one more kind of bit of chutzpah, if you will, to, you know, get up and try again when we've gotten knocked down. And we all have our, you know, experiences we all have our own story, you know, we all have, you know, things that have happened to us. So I think that this show is wonderful because I feel like it helps you know, you see yourself in someone else when you see someone go through trials and tribulations and come out on top. So to me, it just means that we're going to get up, we're going to do it again, and we're going to keep getting up and doing it until we're successful.
Yeah, so just that ability just to keep persevering, to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
What story would you like to share in terms of the One More Round that you've gone through? I know that we can go through one more rounds every day, and we can go through
Mm-hmm.
them, you know, periodically. You know, life is both the brutal and the beautiful, as I've said. And for me, I would love to know, you know, for you to share a story, a personal story of when you've had to go one more round.
Okay, so do we have time for me to tell two stories?
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the authentic story that's kind of a little bit more personal that I didn't think I was going to share, but I was really thinking about it last night. Like, okay, I'm going to share this because I feel like being real is going to resonate with somebody out there more than just being superficial. So in 2015, my three daughters were in a car accident. And it was one of those, you know, moments where it's every parent's worst nightmare. You get the call at midnight and, you know, all three girls were in the hospital. And I remember walking into the hospital room and I actually got to the accident scene. It's you know, kind of a long, not pleasant story to go through something like that. But I remember in that moment thinking, okay, we have one more shot. Everyone came out of this. We're going to come out of this no matter what. It was like, it wasn't even an option. And we had obstacles to overcome, surgeries and fractures. And it was not fun. But that was a time where I really had to pull myself up by the bootstraps and deal with something that wasn't fun. And it was a choice to really dig in deep and be an example to my girls, because I felt like if I fell apart, that would kind of give them permission to do that. So that kind of was the catalyst for my business to be a little bit more bold, because it just reminded me how short life was. And it really made me think that if I'm going to do something, to go all out, to do it right, you know, give it everything you've got. And so that's, you know, so it was a life-changing experience. And though I would never wish for something like that again, it definitely forever changed me. I mean, it's like a switch went off in me that night. So
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's humbling, but also a little sad that sometimes we have to go through things that kind of slap us around the face and make us smell the roses. And then once you've had those learnings, it's being able to use, I guess, the framework of where you've developed your mind, and you've started to live a life that's intentional. That's interesting. I mean, when I lost my friend, and he was in a bike accident, you know, and he was 36, and people were shocked to the core, you know, and so was I. But for them, it was a question of them really looking at what they're doing with their life and what they're spending their time on. Whereas I already had that kind of lifestyle and mindset already. But for so many people, it had such an impact, you know, and I imagine that was a real challenge. And are your daughters okay now? Are they
yes, they're wonderful and came out perfect. Thank God. There were truly miracle situations within that whole experience. So I'm just very grateful for that.
And the good side of those stories is the fact that I know that there's something greater and bigger for them, and that we go through difficulty that actually helps shape us. And I think, you know, for people that are maybe going through a hard time now, I think it's helpful to always remember that everything we go through is temporary and not permanent. When we start to see our problems as permanent, that's when we start to have mental health issues and we fall into depression. But when you realize that things have a season, that, you know, being outside in the winter, you know, is really hard work, and you can die from it, yet summer brings something where you can be outside and you can thrive. And so in life, there's those senses of seasons. What kind of really helped you through during that difficulty? You know, when you found out your daughters were there, and obviously there was a relief that they were physically out of harm's way, even though they had to have surgeries. What kept you grounded?
Obviously, my faith in God definitely kept me grounded, and kind of this mindset of God doesn't give us anything we can't handle. And while I really, I mean, I feel like in some ways, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Get back up, keep going. I'm a very determined person. I have which is good, and it can be really bad because it's like it has that stubborn side to it. But we'll talk about the good part of it right now. And so that was, I just like really had to dig my heels in, and it was for them, you know, it was like, I felt like it was one of those times where it was like, if it's like now or never, those are like those come to two moments where you just have to really just dig in deep. And I don't know that you really have a choice sometimes. And so you have to just act in the best way you know how to. And can I just touch on what you said about the seasons in life? Because I think sometimes when we go through these difficult times, they last longer than we expect. I mean, I know that's been my personal experience. I'm thinking, okay, well, everything passes. And then you're like, okay, like, when is it gonna, you know, when are things gonna get better? So I think that's something that people struggle with. I mean, that's been my struggle, you know, and then when things do finally turn around and change, it's like, oh, now I get it. And so it's really about that, having faith, which is not easy to do, and being patient, which is not easy to do. And I think all of those things come into play in how we live our life, and in business and relationships, I mean, in everything.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think there's something that I learned from John Maxwell, who uses the rule of two, or the rule of double. And it's really helped me. It's that sense of, if you think something will take a year, then budget for 2. If you think something will take $1,000, budget for 2,000. If you think something will take a week, you know, give it 2. And then actually, if it is just a week or it's 10 days, it feels a heck of a lot better than what, you know, it would be if you had your heart set on a week and it becomes 2 weeks, you know. So I think it's something that served me quite well, and I adapted that from him, I think.
I actually need to steal that.
Yeah,
That's
it
a good
works.
one.
It actually works, you know, in terms of your expectation, because we all have expectations of ourselves and of others people, but when we kind of give that room, then actually it prevents us from being disappointed or, you know, a sense of, oh, that wasn't as good as I thought, you know, and it really does help. So it's good, you know, for that to, you know, to come out. Is there anything like practical that you do when times are tough? Like you said that you obviously, when times are tough, you have, you know, you trusted in God. What do you practically do there? And then outside of that, is there anything practical that you do in terms of when times are tough? Is there somebody you speak to, or is there a way in which you center yourself?
Gosh, I think I handle every situation differently. It depends on, you know, what the situation is that's tough. I mean, if it's like a tough day, then you know, I'll come home and have a bath and a glass of wine, you know. And if it's something that sometimes if I'm going through like a tough day, I actually will go work out and take my phone with me and my headphones and work from like an elliptical or a stationary bike, or out walking and like dictate my emails or whatever. Just I try to change my environment so I don't get stuck in that like static kind of place, because I'm an overthinker. It's really easy for me to like just, you know, get lost in that. So
yeah, I love that. I think exercise is a really good shout on that, in terms of one of the things that we can do to really, I guess, release some frustration and tension, and be able to use that to bring more of a clarity to the situation. You know, a good blowout, just to, you know, because we all carry things, we carry concerns and pressure and disappointment and success, and it all needs an outlet to be able to release. So great that you shared, you know, some of those more practical things. Thinking about 5 Ways to Fabulous, tell us a little bit about that. How did that name kind of form?
Okay, so originally it was a blog, and it was the number 5, which meant a lot of things to me. It meant, you know, it was like kind of like my daughters, my mom, you know, there was this like, you know, there's 5 of us girls in the family. Then it also symbolized things I wanted to cover in my blog. So I wanted to talk about makeup, fashion, fitness. You know, there were 5 different topics that I covered in my blog. But what happened was it organically became a beauty blog. I started having beauty or makeup companies reaching out to me. Some really high, you know, like I had, you know, I worked with Tom Ford, Estee Lauder, Kat Von D. So, you know, just different lines. I'm actually kind of I'm looking at my makeup right now, and it's reminding me of different brands I've worked with. And so once I had that kind of beauty following, I was doing my own lashes. I would literally go and buy different sets of lashes, cut them and put them together to create a different look on myself. And then I started to notice like my daughters had a different shaped eye than I did, and different looks would work on them. And I had friends that had a different shaped eye than myself, and, you know, and so on. So I started really noticing, kind of like Anastasia, how not the same eyebrow looks good on every face. The same lash doesn't look good on every face. And so I broke it down and started, you know, figuring out, okay, for example, like I have a very narrow face, or, you know, an oval face. So I'm trying to create width. So I have more flare in the corner of my lashes. If someone has a rounder face, sometimes they want to create more width going this way. So that was, you know, and then there are 5 different eye shapes. So I shortened the name 5 Ways to Fabulous to 5 WTF, which we all kind of get the whole like fun in that. And I mean, like, LOL, you know, it's, so we know what 5 WTF means. And I kind of wanted to be a little bit edgy and eye-catching, like people would maybe look at that and think, did I just see that right? but it's like, yeah. And then, well, what does that mean? And then you see what it means. It's like, oh, okay. And then it's a little bit of an icebreaker. It's edgy. It was different. And I just thought it was fun, so I went with it. So.
Like it. Cool.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I always find it fascinating, like the stories behind how businesses are formed. And I love that. So number 5 is obviously something that really stands out for you. And I'm always fascinated about that. Tell us specifically.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, so now it's become like our like number. So when my daughter plays basketball, she always gets the number 5 jersey.
Yeah.
And so, it's become like a little, thing with us. So.
I like it. Go to a roulette table, put a chip on number 5.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, or a lottery number, or yeah, I love that. Number 5, awesome. 5 lives, 5 ways to fabulous. So, what does a typical day look like for you?
Okay, so, well, I usually stay up much later than I want to, and I get up much earlier than I want to. So it starts with coffee. Don't we all love coffee? And I have a little bit of coffee. I let that kind of sink in. It depends on if I have to take my kids to school or not, or if it's summer. Like right now we're on summer break, which actually is more hectic than school year because they're home and there's activities are crazy. I work out. I try to, and I do my workouts I do my work from the gym. I answer emails, like I said, on the elliptical, and that just kind of puts me in a good place, in a good mood, because it gets your endorphins going. I don't eat breakfast, but I have like kind of a snack when I get home, and then and then I get really hungry around 3 o'clock and eat a bunch of stuff I shouldn't. and my afternoons are busy with either appointments, working with people, traveling. I'm not one of those people I'm not one of those people who's regimented. Like I don't do the same thing every day, eat the same thing every day. I'm not a list person. Every day looks different for me. I mean, even though it has some of the same themes going on with working out and all of that stuff, my days are pretty inconsistent. One day I might be out working with women traveling. The next day I might be working from home all day. The next day I might be with my kids all day. So I don't know if I have a typical day.
Lots of variety. Does the blog still exist?
I would like for it to exist. It does, but I do it more to engage my audience and to help women when someone shoots me a text or email or, comments on my Instagram, hey, how do you do this or that? I really like to answer that question. And I like to answer it honestly because there are a lot of beauty bloggers out there that do makeup tutorials from like start to finish. That's not what I do. They do a fabulous job. There are so many out there. That's not that's not my thing. I really like to give you simple, applicable little hacks and tips and explain why, and almost from getting down to the crux of it, like from translucent powder, you don't want translucent powder with talc in it because it gives flashback in a camera. So, I'll talk about something like that. Or I cut my lashes to 3/4 lengths on the eye, so my tear duct has room to breathe so I can wear them all day. Little, really hard information.
Cool. Really good. So people can still glean that. How do people interact with you? What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Social media, obviously, Facebook, Instagram, message in a bottle, pigeon. There's all different kinds of ways.
Awesome. Well, it's been great to have you on today's One More Round. It goes super quick.
Wow, it does. I can't believe we're done already.
We are done. We've churned it. We've churned it out, and it's been really good. And we'll put a link for people to be able to, interact with you, be able to see what you're up to, be able to look at the lashes that you sell. But it's been great to have you on today's One More Round.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. On reflection of my interview with Paula, there was a number of things that really stood out for me. The first thing was very much a message around being shameless, not having shame in the decisions that you make and the things that you decide to go with. but making sure that you have a life which is bold, that you have the ability to dig deep despite the challenge or the struggle. But being bold in life and actually owning the decisions that you make has been so important to Paula's life, and it was something that really shone out in that interview with her. You know, the importance of going all out for everything that you want to achieve in life. And I think it's a great blend of really owning your decisions, being bold and shameless in your approach, of really having the ability to dig deep for the things that you really value and to go all out.